If you're trying to take your HVAC game to the next level, then buckle your seatbelt, crank up the volume, and try not to be offended. Because you're listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast with Gil Kelley and Kelly McKay. Now, here's Gil and Kelley.
Hello. What is up, everybody? And welcome to episode 3 of the HVAC Uncensored podcast with yours truly, Gil motherfucking Kelley. And as always, my good buddy and confidant, Mr. Kelly McKay. How are you, sir?
Doing well, man. I think we're going to be professionals here before long. We're already on episode 3.
Yeah, I know, man. I mean, Jesus. I mean, we're like catching up with Star Wars and shit.
No shit. A lot faster too.
Yeah, we're gonna be like, you know, the revenge episode, the revenge episode. Then we got like Strikes Back. We're on the right track, baby.
Definitely, I think it's gonna happen. So, hope everybody caught the first couple of episodes. If not, go back and watch those, or go back and listen to those because they're the fucking bomb. So, there it is.
Yeah, definitely, guys. And don't forget that, you know, you can check out the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. Download, subscribe to it, give us a review on whatever app that you use. You know, we really appreciate it. We thank all the downloads for being so new, and all the downloads we've had thus far have been amazing. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've been blown away with as many people that has listened to it. So thank all you guys. We appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing. And like I said, we have some stuff planned here shortly to be able to give back to you guys. But I guess another big announcement that you guys will hear throughout this podcast is me and Kelly we are fucking pumped that we have picked up our first sponsor. We have partnered up with Yellow Jacket. So thank you to Yellow Jacket. I mean, guys, come on. Yellow Jacket is like one of the kings of the industry. If you're in this trade, and I mean, you can be a helper, you know what the hell Yellow Jacket is. So being able to partner up with them, that is awesome. I'm pumped, and I know you're pumped, Kel.
Super pumped. I'm so happy that I mean, what a great way to kick off, you know, sponsorship for this podcast is just having a great, you know, somebody who's been in the industry for so long, and it's just a great company. I've never owned a single other brand of manifold and hoses. I always use Yellow Jacket. They're my go-to. That's the only brand I'll ever buy.
Yeah, I can say I have owned other manifolds, but I do agree. As far as hoses, the only hoses that I have ever owned have been Yellow Jacket. I just think that the quality of hose, and the rebuild kits, how you can rebuild them. You know, you go in mostly any supply house, at least around me, and the O-rings are there. All the little rebuild kits, they're accessible. You know, I know a lot of guys that they just buy new hoses once a year. I have some hoses that are like, I don't know, like 10 years old that, granted, they're not on my everyday gauges, but I just change the O-rings out and rebuild the pieces and, you know, flush them out with nitrogen or something like that and keep the ends closed. And those hoses are fine. They're good to go. They're better than some other brands, brand new.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's funny that you say that, because that is what they're, you know, went to their website and just, I want to learn more about the company. I've always known about them and used it and always love their products, but I want to learn more because they're helping us out and sponsoring our podcast. So, they actually started making hoses 60 years ago. Jack Ritchie set a goal for Ritchie Engineering, which was to become the standard by which all other HVAC hoses are measured. And in the last 6 decades, the Yellow Jacket brand has not only become the standard in hoses, tools, refrigeration gauges, manifolds, HVAC, vacuum pumps, and refrigerant recovery machines, it's become legendary.
That's awesome. I mean,
well, that's pretty much what it says. I mean, it's, not only did they set out to set the standard, but they've moved as their business has evolved. They've moved into all these other HVAC products, and they set the standard. So
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that wholeheartedly, man. And the other thing that I've loved is there's some other brands out there that I like, but I love the Yellow Jacket Bullet vacuum pump. That thing has been my go-to pump forever. And I know there's some newer ones out that I am very intrigued. Not saying that I might not try them, but that thing has been tried and true and has been so good to me. I have not one bad thing to say about that Yellow Jacket Bullet. The 2-stage 7 CFM pump. It has been badass.
yeah, I agree.
But yeah, we didn't mean for that to turn into a commercial. That was just us. Thank you, Yellow Jacket. We look forward. It's going to be a great future. We appreciate it. But anyway, before we move on, just a little quick intro. What's been going on with you, buddy? How you been? How's business?
Doing good. We're still pretty busy. It's still hot here. I don't know what the weather's been doing there. I think when we talked the other night, you said it's cooled off a little bit. We've had a couple of days where it cooled off a little bit, which eased up service just a little. Installation still rolling like crazy, at least an installation going every single day, which we're very thankful for and appreciate that we have such good customers that allow us to do these things, because that's what pays the bills and gives us all employment. But other than that, it's been going really good. Nothing major happening other than a few service hiccups, but other than that, everything's been going great. How about you, Gil?
It's been good, boy. Obviously, I'm busy here because I, 2 hours late recording. It's weird because the weather came down. It's still hot here. The humidity has came down because people talk about these southern states, but Maryland is very humid. So Maryland, Virginia, because the Chesapeake Bay is right there. So it just, all that moisture gets brought into the air and it gets humid as fuck. So it gets pretty bad here, and 100% humidity is 100% humidity. I don't care if you're in Texas, Florida, Maryland, Mars. 100% humidity is 100% humidity. But yeah, so humidity has come down a little bit, but the temperatures are still up in the 90s. So we've been pretty booming, man. Thank God I had a father and son install team that worked for me. That I lost. The dad had some law troubles that wasn't his fault. It's just something that caught up to him. Well, they moved away for a little bit. Well, long story short, they came back and now they're doing stuff for us again. And these two are awesome. Father and son, these guys will bang in fucking installs out like it's nobody's business. I mean, I can give these guys 2 heat pump installs in a day and they both look
knock them out
like
no
a
problem.
pretty penny.
Yeah, that's
exactly. And the fact that they do 2, but it's not like they do 2 that look kind of semi-okay. I mean, they do 2 and they look fucking like sweet. Not one complaint. Yeah. So it's been helping out a lot because I don't have to take a service guy to go help an installer and then have service backed up. So it's definitely helped, but I'm happy, man. It's been good.
Good. And heavy props to all the installers out there. I know service is tough because that's primarily what I did for most of my career. And I know that's what Gil, I think, has primarily done for the majority of his career. And that's definitely what he spends the majority of his time now doing. But I've done my fair share of installs, and I'm certain you have too, Gil. And it's tough work. And a good installer can make such a huge difference within a company. I know that our company, as we were growing, we were taking like 10, 12 hours to finish an install. And then I found an installer and we started getting jobs done in 6 hours. And furnace installs, instead of taking a whole 8 hours to put a furnace in, we'd be done in 4 hours. And it just completely turned my company around. So the value of a solid, hardworking installer is major props to you guys. You guys kick ass, and you can't imagine just how important your jobs are for everybody within the company and what you do for the business.
Well, exactly. Like we always say, I mean, obviously, the whole point of service is to lead to installs. I mean, that's the lifeblood of a company is selling those systems. Well, obviously, you got to have good installers to be able to do those installs when you sell them, and then they have to be able to. Obviously, you got to price the job right to be able to get the job in the first place. But then you got to be able to stay in the time frame of the allotted hours that you bid that job for, or less, and not have any callbacks, and that's how you increase profits. And so installers are very important. And I know a lot of people get a bad rap. They say, "Oh, when you're starting out, you should be an installer and then go to service." And that does happen because some installers, they need to know how things work before they can go do service. But I know some guys that have been installers have no desire to do service. They've been straight career installers, and these guys are, fucking monsters.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I agree with you as far as like an entry level position. A lot of times that's where I put new guys, is they're a helper on installations, and it helps to just know how the pieces go together, and you get used to welding and wiring and just doing the basic things. I think that's a great way to start your career, and it helps to, once you make the transition and you start, if it's something you're interested in, to move into service, then being on the install side, it just helps you install stuff the next time you go. Once you get into service, the next time you got to go install something, you think a little bit differently about maybe the way you ran the line set, or the way you installed the coil, or the flues, because you're actually thinking about, okay, well, if I got to come back and service this thing, am I going to be able to access it? Am I going to be able to get the coil doors off? Am I going to be able to change the filters easily? All these things that I think it's always a good way to start into this industry, is to, as an installer, you just learn a lot. And then when you transition to service, if that's where you decide to go, it's going to make you an even better installer.
No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. It's just, you got to know how something works before you can fix it. It's that simple. If you don't know how something works, how it goes together, the sequence of operations, and I've said this on millions of times on other podcasts and Facebook, YouTube, whatever. If you don't know how it works, then you can't fix it because you don't know what it's doing. It's okay. It's supposed to be doing this and it stopped here. Okay, so it's in between this sequence and this sequence. If you don't know that, then you're a parts changer, and parts changers, you can't really make a profit off parts changers, or I guess you can, but you can only do that so often before people just let you, change every part in the goddamn furnace or AC or whatever it is. All right, buddy. Well, that's enough about that. You ready to tell people how to go make money, my friend?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Alrighty. Here we go.
Now, here's Go Make Money with Kelly McKay.
What's up, everybody? So a while back, a couple months ago, I was given, I don't know how they got my name or whatever the case, but I got an email from a Contractor Success Summit, and it was from a Mark Levesque who runs WebRunner. And so I signed up for it because it was a bunch of interviews with a lot of people in our industry, in the service industry. Some of those, to name a few, is Mike Agliero, Tommy Mello, Joe Crisera. Let's see. Tim Reber, Al Levi, John Warillo, Kenny Chapman. And anyhow, I went ahead and signed up for that, and it was free. They offered it free to everybody, but if you only got limited access. So there's so many interviews that you would never have time to get through it all. So I paid, I don't even know what it was, $100 or $150, so I could have permanent access to it. So I could go through these videos on my own time and learn from these people in our industry. And I came across Joe Crisera, which I've seen Joe on Facebook and stuff, and they call him America's Service Sales Coach. But he has a style that has you feeling like you are a member of his family or someone you met before, and that's why a lot of people call him Uncle Joe. But the title of his interview was How to 10X Your Revenue. And there's just a couple of ideas that I wanted to share with you from that, because I just found it really interesting. And one of the things that I really liked was that, we have to give options when we're on service calls. We give options when we're on quotes or giving a bid to somebody. And he had some percentages. Now, I'm not sure where he got them from, but I tended to believe that they are correct. And what he said was that 15% of the people will buy the premium product or the premium option. 74% will buy the mid-range option, and 11% buy the bottom option. So that is just so powerful to know that it's almost 75% of the time when you offer options to somebody, they're going to go with the middle option. Most people don't want the bottom. Only a select few want the top. So that's why it's so important to give options instead of just one option to anybody. And, when it comes to the options, it pretty much works every time if you work it. But another thing, which is kind of off the subject, but I just definitely wanted to cover that I really picked out of this interview and could really appreciate, because I've used it myself and I didn't even realize what I was doing. But you use the customer's name to personalize the solution. Whatever the solution is, whether it's to add some humidity to the air or, eliminate some dust in the home or help with some allergy problems that somebody in the home is suffering from, always use the name when you present the solution. When you're given your options, use the name of the person that it's going to solve that problem for. And I've actually done this before, and I didn't even think much of it, but I know years ago, we installed a system. Well, when I was given the presentation, I walked through the house and I found that it was like Tommy. I'm just going to use the name Tommy. So Tommy was a toddler, and they had in Tommy's bedroom, they had his name up across like the crib. And so that room was always hot and was always cold. And I knew I could solve that problem. So when I presented the options, I said, and once we do this, it's going to keep Tommy's room the same temperature as the rest of the house, so it's not so hot or not so cold. And I sold that job with ease because I personalized that solution. So that's a really important thing to remember, guys and gals. When you're giving options, number one, always give 3 options. Number 2, personalize that solution. Have you ever had this work for you, Gil?
Yes, I have.
So if you want to learn more about Joe Crisera, check out his website at www.totalimmersionsales.com. I think that the interview was just great. He just does come off as just, very matter of fact, but yet not rude in any way, shape, or form. Kind of like an Uncle Joe. So I really appreciated it. I made sure to reach out to him on Facebook when I saw him post something in one of the threads that I was reading, and just told him, hey, Joe, I just watched this in the Contractor Success Summit, and I really appreciate you sharing that knowledge, because it was great. I really enjoyed it. And he was like the down-to-earth guy that he is. He was like, Kelley, you just made my night, man. And I'm like, well deserved. It was very good. So that was great. That's what's great about social media, is you can reach out and touch anybody, and you can have a conversation with them. Doesn't matter, it doesn't matter who they are. If you send the right message, you can talk to anybody you want. So, but check out Joe's stuff. I'm going to dig deeper into his stuff and learn more about him, because I honestly don't know that much about him. But the information that he shared on the Contractor Success Summit was great. And I'm sure you can still get this if you just reach out to Mark at contractorsuccesssummit.com. Ask Mark, that's Mark Levesque, who runs WebRunner. I'm sure he's still selling access to this. It's well worth your money and just take your time and go through a video and learn from some of the greats in our industry.
Yeah, and what you said, I agree. And I know that we talked about this, off air, about the whole, options and how they do take the middle option. That's why sometimes when you have to choose your options carefully. And with me, that's why we do the whole good, better, best thing. Some people like it, some people don't, but whatever. It works for us. It works for me. I don't put 14 SEER as an option. Thus, I don't sell any 14 SEER. Rarely. I have they're all three good options. Even that lowest option is good. That worst case scenario, if they took that, it's still better and more expensive than a 14 SEER system. So I just feel like, when guys automatically think, and we talked about it when it comes to like service and charging what you're worth. Well, it's the same with installs. If you're, oh, well, my lowest option's always got to be that 14 SEER system, you're probably going to sell a lot more 14 SEER systems. You can always, if the customer says, well, I mean, all three of those prices are kind of expensive, you can always go down. You can't go up. I mean, trying to go up with the customer is very hard.
Yeah, I agree. I don't even price. We like virtually never price a 14 SEER system. We go from 13 SEER. Now, if it's a heat pump, 14 SEER is our minimum efficiency for our area. So we have to price 14 SEER for our instead of 13 SEER for heat pumps. But everything else, we do 13 SEER, then we jump right up to 16 SEER because the amount of difference in the money between, in my opinion, between going 14 SEER or 16 SEER, 16 SEER is going to pay for itself a lot faster. So me personally, and maybe that's not the wrong way to think about it, but I don't think I'm doing a disservice by any means to any customer by us only offering the 16 SEER instead of the 14 SEER.
No, you're right. And to be honest, 14 SEER is the minimum here, no matter what. Heat pump, air conditioning, it has to be. We can't 13 SEER. You can't do in this region no more. But
yeah,
I don't put 14 SEER at all. So if I do a good, better, best, I will have, I don't know, say sometimes I'll do where they're all 16 SEER. Since I do Carrier, I'll do like Carrier Infinity, with all the bells and whistles, variable speed motor, communicating, then I'll do Carrier Performance System, that's 16 SEER, but not as much bells and whistles. And then maybe I'll do a 15 SEER or I'll do like the Carrier Comfort 16. But normally my lowest and middle option are normally always 16 SEER. And a lot of times I put my best option, I put inverters or I put like high-end Infinity systems. And sometimes depending on the customer, when I feel them out, I'll put, the inverter as the top option, like a nice 2-stage, 16, 17 SEER AC, unit in the middle. And then I'll have like a lower end 16 SEER on the bottom. And they'll pick that middle option and they just got a badass system and they thought they were going in the middle when a lot of people that would have been the top one on their list. So I don't know, I've done little different things that have worked for me. And I just feel like, I don't know, like I'm giving the customers a better system and I don't do it to be deceiving. That's not my thing behind it. It's just, I want people to get a good system, especially everything that I sell 10 and 10. 10-year parts warranty, 10-year labor warranty, especially when it's Carrier. Unless I sell like off-brand, like Payne or real low-end Carrier, and it gets down to dollars and cents, I can do 10-year parts and then like a 5-year labor or 1-year labor. But I normally don't do that because I think about my customers. I want them, when they spend that money for 10 years, to know that, have that little comfort net, that blanket that, okay, I'm good. I always add media filters in just because I know that once it's in there and we're going to change it for them every 6 months because we're out there doing the service contract, so they don't got to touch it. They're going to thank me in the long run. So I didn't mean to go off on a tangent there, but I just wanted to say that because I actually do it because I am thinking about my customers. I said before that sometimes you need to do what's best for your customers, whether they realize it at the time or not.
Yeah, absolute sense. I mean, your job is as the professional. So you're offering what you believe for whichever home you're in. You're going to offer the best options that's going to, provide the solutions that they're looking for after you ask all the questions and everything. So yeah, you're doing, I mean, that's what we should be doing.
Yeah, it's just these people, especially when people say there's always that one where I forget what they say. Not denial. What is it called when somebody's trying to, when the customer's trying to like blow you off because they don't want to do something? They call it.
I want to think about it, or I want to get 3 bids, or it's the price.
Yeah, just trying to put it off. But when they say, when they have a questions, well, I want to do some research. That's when you need to say, all right, well, I'm here. I wouldn't call myself an expert, but I know a lot about this trade and I'm very good at it. Go ahead and ask your questions. And a lot of times when you say that, they're like, okay. You know what I mean? So there's so many ways to like kind of get through those roadblocks.
The HVAC god just admitted that he's not an expert, but I'm gonna tell you right now that you need to change the way you're thinking, because the bottom line is you are an expert. This is what you do, 24/7, 365. You are an HVAC expert. You've been practicing just like a doctor practices in their practice for years and years and years. Doctors have to go to a lot of schooling. So do we. Now, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we downplay and we downplay what we do too much in our industry, because it's a difficult job, and it takes years and years and years to become efficient whatsoever at it. And there's always things that you've never seen, just like a doctor seeing some illness that comes in that they've never seen in their career. That shit happens to us. But don't downplay your ability. And, I think you should call yourself an expert. I 100% think you should. So, and even with the customer, of course, we don't know it all. Of course, I totally get that and understand that. But we have to have the mindset that we are experts.
No, and you're right. And maybe I said that wrong, because I am a fucking god and I am an expert. So I'll have to edit that
that's
part
more
out.
Like it. That's what I want to hear.
But you know what I mean? So sometimes I don't want to come off as like, because if they're already giving me those roadblocks, I don't want to come off as like a cocky prick. So I don't come off to say I'm an expert, but I'm saying, I'll say something like, I'm very knowledgeable in this trade, ma'am. So if you have any questions, please shoot. And normally I always say, if God forbid, if I can't answer them, I will get those answers for you. And normally I can answer all the questions they have.
Yeah.
Unless they ask me some off the wall shit, like that I wouldn't know.
Sure.
But other than that, I can answer all of
and
it.
I get it. I'm just beating you up a little bit, but that's one of our jobs is to, and this is like I call it DAP, DAP. And I learned this off of YouTube, and it's, what to say when you sit down with the customer. It was, Ms. Smith, my job here boils down to 3 things. And this is Weldon Long's training, but it was shared on YouTube. That's where I learned it. And I actually use it. I want to design the perfect system for you and your family. I want to answer all your questions, and I do want to get the price right. And if for any reason you feel like I'm not a good fit for your family, all I ask is that you let me know. And no is a perfectly acceptable answer. Fair enough? So we say that up front. That way they can, and that's the thing. They're going to say, yeah. Well, when you get to the point, what you're talking about, Gil, where it's like, well, we want to do some research and blah, blah, blah. That's just them having a hard time making a decision. So, yeah, you're there to answer the questions. So, if you have any questions, I'm right here. Please feel free to ask me, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. I've been doing this a long time, and there's not much I haven't dealt with or seen. So please ask away.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, like you said, and you're right, there's too many guys that are out there that are knowledgeable that when a customer says that, they just roll. But that's not the case. We are the experts. That's why, like we've said, as far as recommendations and different things like that, you need to tell them what you think is the best for their system. And then the same thing has to apply with an install. So even when you're selling the system, you have to. That's why I always add in the air cleaners and different things like that, or I'll put them as like packages, as add-ons, because I can always take them off.
Yes.
but I can't put them in afterwards, so that's why I get a lot of add-ons to my tickets, because I tell the customer, I say, if you're okay, I'm going to give you three options and build the systems as if I lived in this house. Is that okay with you? And they're like, well, sure. They're like, cause obviously you know what you're doing. So yeah, sure. And when I tell them and I start going over what's in that package, and they're like, well, what's that cleaner? Oh, well, that's a media filter, ma'am. That's going to be, it's 5 inches wide, and you only change it every 6 months. And it does, it's a way better, filtration of your house than that typical 1 inch filter, and, go through that thing. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we want that. And then there's this UV light that, that's going to clean the air. I saw that, little Johnny, I saw the asthma inhaler, and this is going to clean the air up, and you're going to put this new system so we can properly heat and cool the air, but we want to make sure we're heating and cool clean air at the same time. I mean, don't you agree? Oh, well, yeah, definitely. We definitely want to make sure it's clean. And a lot of times those things sell itself because they've already looked, as you're reading it off, they're looking at that bottom number. That's the first place their eyes went to. So if you start to add, like you always say, if you start to add value to that package as you get down to that number that they've been staring at the whole time you're talking, then you're good. But if it's, oh yeah, this one costs $15,000, it's great, it's the best system on the paper. Okay, moving on to not gonna work. The next one. And I always start, and I always start with the best one. I say, if you don't, I said, I have a good, better, best. If you don't mind, I'm going to start with the best system. Always work your way down.
I agree, because you always want to start with the system that's going to have the most solutions attached to it. It's going to solve the most problems that you found by asking good questions and your observations throughout the house.
Yeah, and definitely. I don't know. I guess because
on the back side of it, like you said, you can always take things away. So if they're just focused on that price, and that's the only concern, well, then once you build the value in these other products that can really improve their air quality in their home, or improve the comfort that they're going to experience from this new system, then you can always start taking that stuff away. And what you'll find a lot of times, once you built the value, they're like, oh, just like Gil said, he's like, oh, we really want that. We want that. Well, yeah, you're going to have to pay for it if you want it. So at the end, if they have not a complaint, not an objection, but a complaint about the price, then that's when you can take things away. Okay, well, that air cleaner that's going to help with little Johnny's allergies, we can go ahead and I can take that off of there if you want. That can get the price down. Then they're like, "Whoa, no, we want that." Okay, well, how about our warranty? We could probably take some of this warranty off. And what you'll find is they really don't want those things taken off. So then it's just a case of, so what do you want to do? Which is also something that I learned from Joe Crisera. On that interview is, he just puts it back into the customer's hands and says, so what should we do? I get it that it's a high investment. So what should we do? You just flat out just ask them, put it back on them. And that causes what's called cognitive dissonance, which it makes them want to squirm in their seat a little bit. And it's not to be mean or anything. We're only helping them make a decision. And we want them to make the best decision that's going to solve the most problems in their home. And that way we know that they're getting exactly what they want.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's you have to... I guess I'm trying to think about how to explain it right. I don't know. I lost my fucking track of thought. You
can always take things away. You agree with that, and I'm sure you've had that experience where they really don't want things taken away.
Yeah, no, and like I say, I put the prices of those on the side, how much they actually cost, but I include them into the bottom number. So, like I said, when they see that number, it's not like, because a lot of times when I do that, they'll think, oh, I really like that. So it's going to be, this $500 on top of that price. Well, no, ma'am. Actually, this bottom price right here already includes these things. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you just put their mind at ease, because they're thinking, oh, I like this, but it's going to, all this add-ons are going to add another $1,000 a month. And then when you get to the bottom and they're interested, you say, "Oh no, well, I already figured that into this." Oh yeah, well hell, let's do all that then. I really like that if that's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. That way you just built the value. That's the bottom line. Build the value, then, let them decide. But the thing about any type of sales, and I cannot stress this enough, and I only just learned this in the last couple of years, but if you don't truly believe in the service that you provide, it's going to make it really tough to ask some of the difficult questions and to hold the people accountable for things that they said earlier as you're trying to, help them make the best decision for them, because we all have competitors out there in your area, no matter where you're at, that don't do as good a job as you do, that don't care as much as you do. And it's our job to help somebody make the decision to go with you, but you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your service that you provide. If you don't believe in that service, it makes sales a lot harder. So once you get that a different way of thinking about it, once you lock that into your head and move forward with it, it just makes it easier to say what you need to say to help people make decisions.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with that more. But all right, I think we've told everybody our sales pitch for the day. Because we're just dirty fucking salesmen.
Yeah, I know. That's what some will listen to this, and that's what they're going to think. But I hope that saying a couple of these things maybe made you think about it a little differently. That's all. Just think about it differently, because is it in your customer's best interest to go with your competitor? Ask yourself that question.
No. Yeah, I mean, and guys, we're telling you things that have worked for us. By no means, we joke around. By no means are we expert, but we're telling you advice of things that have worked for me and Kelly personally. We've done it. It works today. I sold a system today. That works. Does it mean it's going to work for you? I don't know. Maybe not, but you don't know until you try. And some of you guys, and I do a lot of sales, but I am not a salesman. I'm not. I will sell when the need is there. Yes, because of my title, I get to go do some sales calls, me or the owner, but there's a need. They're calling in, "Hey, I want a price on a new system." I'm not going out there to change the capacitor and being like, "Yeah, this thing's like 11 years old. It's out of warranty. You need a new system." No, that's not what I'm doing. I sell when the need is there. So I just, throw that out there, before we go any farther. And if
100%,
you don't like it, then
nothing unethical, not trying to sell something to somebody that they don't want or need. It's strictly, and I'm sure I know, we both know that there's companies out there that do these things. And I certainly don't condone it. But, also to each his own to a certain extent. I'm not, who am I to judge anybody? I don't know what their situation is or what the deal is, but I currently, there's so many customers out there for us, for everybody. And there's so many solutions that you can provide that's what we're looking for, is how can we solve some problems?
Yeah, exactly. That's what they have a problem, and we're there to fix it, So yeah, it is what it is. So
hey, one quick thing,
Gil. To the next.
You motherfucker.
No.
Okay, so one quick thing is, when we do talk about these types of things, is don't be so judgmental that, a lot of times we automatically throw up our blockade and say, "Oh, that won't work. I can't do that." Well, the thing is if you've never tried it and you've never measured it and used it over and over and over again to get an actual baseline of if it works or not, try not to judge it, because you just don't know until you actually try it. So keep an open mind when it comes to any ideas that we share throughout this podcast and the future podcasts to come.
Yeah, and like we just said, we are telling you what works for us. It doesn't mean that it's the end all be all. If you don't do this, you're a fucking moron. No, it's just We're telling you little tips that we've done as long as we've been in the field that just help us, get the end result that we're trying to get, which is make a profit, make money. That's why we all go to work. We don't go to work for free, but all right, we're dragging on with this podcast. So let's move it on.
Now time to say what with Gil Kelley.
Alrighty. What's up, guys? So in the Say What segment this week, it kind of ties in to what we were talking about before, but not the same thing. I want to talk about those hard to deal with customers. And I know that I have done a podcast before, about this whole thing. And, that podcast was very good. I know I did that with John, and that podcast was a hit. People loved it. And yeah, I know. But it's, but that's part of our job. Not even the technical fixing part or the sales thing. It's sometimes you have customers that you have to deal with. That interaction has got to be there. I have seen guys that are awesome mechanics. The guys can fucking fix anything, but they have the personality of my left testicle, and Mr. Collinsworth is not a very nice guy. Okay. My left testicle is kind of a dick. So you don't want to be like him. You got to have that interaction the same way with anything. They have to be able to trust you. You got to be able to get along in a professional manner. But Kelly, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you can do everything right, and it doesn't matter. You're still going to lose. It's just the way it happens.
That's one of the reasons why we have to price where we have to price, because there's certain things, if you're going to provide great service, you're going to give things away sometimes. It happens to all of us. We don't ever want it to happen. My end goal is to always, and I know Gil's company is the same way. We want to make the customer happy. We want to do what's right for the customer. But sometimes it's really tough to make that customer happy, and we just got to – sometimes we got to eat it.
Yeah, it's just like a few situations where you can do everything through your handbook correctly as far as – why are you
I'm just
giggling
thinking
in the
about
fucking
what
background
we're going
like
to
a little
eat.
schoolgirl?
Because sometimes you got to eat. You got to eat shit sometimes, And we had a service call this week, which I'm not even going to get into, but sometimes it's just easier to eat shit. And it's not fair to us as professionals, but you just can't convince people otherwise sometimes. And it's not worth, arguing for days and days on end and then potentially going to court over. I'll just do whatever you need me to do and just let me get the fuck down the road and fuck off.
Yeah, no, you're right. And everybody's always heard the saying, the customer's always right. And I know they're not per se, but they are. Without the customer, we're a service-based industry. So without customers, guess what? We don't have any fucking work to do. So, and sometimes you get these customers that it's just, they're having a bad fucking day. You're the first poor son of a bitch they see, and you're going to get fucking roasted. They're going to toast your ass. Everything that you do, you're charging, it's going to cost me $265 for you to come out here and change a capacitor? That's $10 online. Well, why are you charging me? Yeah, why are you charging me a diagnostic to come out when I already told you it was the capacitor wasn't working? Well, ma'am, I still have to pay my fucking tech to go out there. You know what I mean? Like those little things, there's nothing that you can do about it, but you got to be able to deal with it. For you guys that are just normal techs, obviously you want to be as cordial and as polite as possible. And I know it sounds gay, but you kill those people with kindness. And a lot of times, eventually, those people will give in. If they see that they can't get you rattled, that they're not going to be able to get you to be like, well, fuck you, motherfucker. Oh, that's it. I'm calling your boss. Yeah. I'm trying to get this thing for free. You know what I mean? And if you just kill them with kindness and have to walk away, eventually they're going to give up. They might still be pissed and stuff like that, but at least that way you can pass it off to the office, pass it off to your supervisor or whoever else has to deal with that. And sadly for us, that's me and Kelly in our places. Yeah.
No matter what, they can't say that you didn't treat them fair if you kill them with kindness.
No, go ahead.
And at least in your mind, and your heart, you did the right thing.
Yeah, because
just a
the
fucking
worst
delay after I talk.
What's that?
You're not hearing me finish talking until like 5 seconds later. Yeah, it's fine. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, Kelly, will you shut the fuck up so we can record? This is why we're 50 minutes
Right.
into the podcast and my segment just started. But we're going to keep this segment short. We're not going to go on too long, but it's just pretty much, guys, dealing with those hard customers. And I praise my guys. They're good. I always tell them that you're polite, you answer their questions, and if they get rude, they start to curse at you, say whatever. If they have to walk outside, I tell them, call me, pass it off to somebody else. Put me on the phone and let me talk to them. Just try to do. A lot of times you don't have to do that, but you can get through it where you're going to have to do it. Like me and Kelly had talked, where sometimes you have to like eat parts costs, where they'll approve work and then something happens, like after you do it, they want to bitch about it. That's why I am really big on COD. We have some customers that have been around for a while that we will, we'll bill them. But other than that, we're COD. So they don't get that going looking on the internet stuff and come to find out, oh, well, I don't want to pay that now that I already have AC, my system's working. And now I have to pay you. That, to me, that's just bad news.
The reality is that there's a huge percentage of people that live paycheck to paycheck, period. We've all been there. We've all done it. Maybe you're going through it right now. It just happens. It's very common. And so if you leave without collecting, guess what? The electric bill is way more important than your bill now that they have cooling. The cable bill is way more important. The internet bill is way more important. And it is important, absolutely. I want these people to have these things, of course, but we're not banks. We don't need to finance anything. We have, credit lenders for that. If the repair is so much that they need to actually finance it, or you need to collect while you're there.
Yeah, I can't agree with that anymore, man. We have financing, and if they can't get approved through the financing, then that's on them. Because
it's not your place to do it. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have always and I'm sure you've done it the same in your business, Gil, where there is a couple of people that I will finance stuff because they're true to their word. They will walk into my office on the first of every month with a check in their hand. I don't ever have to chase the money, but it's like 2 people out of, 3,000 customers or more. It's 2 people. In the past, anytime I financed anything, I wind up chasing the money, even if I trusted them and knew them. And I hate to judge everybody just from that. But the bottom line is it hasn't worked out for me. That's been my experience.
Yeah, the same here. That's why we stopped doing it a long time ago. And there is always those few people, but it's like anything else in life. There's always that one bad egg that ruins it for everybody. And in our trade, you got to play by the numbers, and the numbers show that the less that you put your money out there, the less you're gonna have to deal with those kind of bullshit situations. So it just makes better off to just not do it at all. That's what we do. But it just, I don't know. But then sometimes I get careful on when I offer financing and when I don't. Especially if it's some old ass system, I'm not going to offer financing on the repair.
Yeah, it's just not in the best interest of the customer. So you always got to keep that. Back to the earlier in the segment when we were talking about that stuff, it's just keeping the customer's best interest in mind. And sometimes it's in the customer's best interest to look at some options. Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, guys. Yeah, man. We, talked about some sales stuff, a little bit of different topics this time. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We thank you guys as always for listening, man. The 3rd episode, we're moving in the right direction. We have a sponsor, like we said. Thank you to Yellow Jacket, our group, is growing like wildfire. We've been up it's been up 500 members in like the last couple of weeks. We went from a Thursday to a Sunday. We went up 350 members. So thank you guys so much. And what we always say, we would be nothing without you guys. You're the reason that we do this. If it wasn't for you, there would be no HVAC Uncensored. There would be none of these podcasts out there because you guys make it happen.
Yes, I didn't get to say it earlier because you went on and on and on and on and on. So I'm going to say it now. Thank you. So if you'd shut the fuck up for a minute, I could fucking say thank you. I appreciate everybody's support and everything. It's been great. And yeah, the Facebook group's been growing like crazy. Like it's like a nonstop filter of members wanting to join. So that's awesome. Be sure to post questions in the group. And I know we're going to be giving away some stuff here really quick. We got a couple of people that are going to send us some swag to give away to you guys. And I say "and" way too much. Don't I, Gil? I say fucking "and" way too much. It's better than...
It's all right.
It's better than I think.
Actually, you don't say fucking "and." You just say "and" too much. But
yeah.
But I say... Yeah, exactly. I say so yeah,
Yep, that's what we do.
Yeah, and. But actually, hey, before we cut this out, we went a little over earlier, so I don't want to drag this on. But Kelly, I almost forgot. There's one thing we do have to do, and we're gonna do this, the Q&A part, but we're only gonna do one question this week. Plus, most of your questions you guys asked were, towards the end, they got some good ones, but a lot of you guys were just asking about.
It was good. I liked them.
Stupid shit. Yeah. So let's.
that is the wrong one.
Uncensored podcast.
That's not the right one. Let's try the next one.
And now, moving on to.
That is the wrong one as well. Let's try this again.
And now, Q&A with Gil and Kelley.
Hey, here we go. Woo. Yeah. Yeah, we got it. It took fucking 8 times.
Thank you.
Gil's a dipshit. Sorry about that. And I'm not going to edit that out either. Who gives a fuck? But yes, there's a guy, and he says it's okay to say his name. He's in the group. His name is Jeremy Henline. And I have a lot of guys that message me on Facebook Messenger that I talk to. It's quite a few guys that I've just, become personal with and talked. And he had a question that he wanted to, and he sent me. So I'm going to read this, and I'm going to let me and you
all right,
try to give his the answer to that. So here, let me find it for a second. Okay, here we go. He says, a little background on me. I've been doing HVAC for about 19 years. Started off as an installer after losing my job as a computer tech in 99, so I started this HVAC life. Installed for a couple of years on new construction and retrofits, got good and fast at it, became the install manager and ran up to 4 crews. Left and went into service with a large company in Richmond, Virginia. Went to trade school, found most of what I ended up doing was side work for teachers, either service calls or installs, and it helped pay for my school and paid me to work as well. So I've been running service for about 13 years now. This is the problem and my question. I've had my right knee operated on 3 times, 2010, 11, and 12. And then cervical neck fusion from C3 to C7 on the inside of my neck. And then 6 months later, the same thing on the outside due to the bones collapsed. Right after that, approximately 6 months, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and I've had to have that removed from my I don't know what that word is. I'm not that smart. Prostatectomy, whatever. The 2 necks and prostate have been in the last year and a half. The doctors and physical therapy guys all say I need to get out of the field, or I was like, I'm not sure what he's saying right here. Get out of the field per their say, or I will feel like shit. So I finally paid the state their money and got my master's license in hopes of getting out of the field, but then the cancer. Oh, getting out of the field to start my own company. Then the cancer got so tough, it was hard to tough it out. The neck thing is not going to get any better as I continue to do lifting and carrying the right movements. I have to do so with what would you guys recommend for a person like that? I love the trade. I do not want to leave it. I want to help in any way I can. My owner says we are a small company and I'm needed in the field, not the office. I would love to teach, tutor the younger ones or manage or even do something to better a company somehow. So in general, how would you guys handle the knowing the medical side of what it is and what the details behind the question? I really appreciate you taking the time.
Sounds like it.
So that was pretty long.
Well, I think that, it is in your best interest to, despite what the owner may say, to get out of the field. I mean, the bottom line is this is a tough job and it is rough on our bodies. So that may or may not mean that you may have to change companies and go to a bigger company that does have a position for you. I mean, you've got a ton of knowledge. And yes, you could get these young guys that are entering the company up to speed a lot faster than, by passing along your earned knowledge. So, I would start searching for maybe a director position or a service management position. I think that would be the best route to go if the owner is not willing to make some changes so you can take over that type of position. And it's, you can also answer the phone for the technical questions coming in from out of the field and help with the permits. And so if you're not willing to leave, here's another thing that you might consider. That owner in your small business is wearing probably a lot of hats. You need to find out what those hats are. You probably already know a lot of the things that feels like he has to do and he's responsible to do, or she. You didn't specify, I don't think, if it's a man or a woman, but there's probably a lot of things that you can take off of their plate. And that's going to make their life better, and it will help grow the business because there's other things that you can work on. So I would have that conversation a little deeper. And if they're just not willing to hear you out and allow you to take some things off of some of the office responsibilities that are happening right now, then it's probably time to move on. But hopefully if you're happy where you're at, you just can't do the field work anymore, that they'll work with you. And they should, if they're caring people. I mean, I hate to say that, but when you have good people, you make new positions for them so they don't leave, if that's what it takes.
Yeah, I guess my take on this, without going on too long, is first and foremost, get out of the trade, bud. Get out of the trade. Get out of the field. Okay. Your life, your body is more important than an occupation. And as much as I love this trade, it is not worth you, becoming a crippled, losing your life, or disabled to where you can't even enjoy your family, bud. Okay. I've had some health issues that some people know that I'm not going to get into, but it put a lot of things in perspective for me. And my wife and my kids are the most important thing in my life. Obviously I want to provide for them, but I could find other ways to provide. Maybe I might not make as much money right away, but there's other ways for me to provide and still be around. And that is what's first and foremost. And I know it sucks, but that's what you need to think about. You need to take care of yourself, get healthy. And if it's too hard on your body, then get out, brother. Get out of the field and be healthy first and foremost. The other thing is, and I'm not going to sugarcoat, I'm going to be honest. In my opinion, sometimes it's harder to find those, service manager spots, because at least in all the companies I've worked for, that normally they promote from within. They're not hiring some guy from off the street. Not saying it won't happen, but I would definitely apply for something like that, or, try to go to a supply house. You have the knowledge. Maybe you can, with your knowledge, you might be able to rise up to be like a manager or something kind of quick, and you're still in the field. Try to teach. Maybe you can teach people. I mean, I don't know how much those guys get paid, so you could still be in the field. I hate to say it, turn into a sales guy, but then you're commission based. So I wouldn't do that because I couldn't be an everyday salesman. But I would definitely try to get one of those other aspects if your owner won't let you do that. I do agree wholeheartedly with what Kelly said. You know, think about think about issues that your owner has to deal with and how you could help take those off his plate or her plate, and go to them and be like, hey, well, I can do this. So that way you don't have to do it, but you pretty much, you have to pitch it. It's a sales pitch. There's no other way to say it. You have to make them know that they have a need and you have a solution to fill it pretty much. So I hope that helps, buddy. My heart goes out to you. I've talked to you. You seem like an awesome guy. I wish you the best, man. I'll keep you in my prayers. I hope that everything works out, that you stay healthy. And whether you're in the trade or not, that you're able to just have a, fulfilling life and just be healthy, buddy. I really do. So thank you for sending your question in.
Yeah, same here. That's a great question, and wish you the best of luck, man. And I know that if you truly love this, you can find a position. It might not be with the same company you're with, but somewhere within the industry, you can find a position that does not require you to be in the field. So do what you got to do. Get out of the field. Don't hem-haw around. Don't wait another 6 months for something else to go wrong. Get out. And if your owner's not willing to work with you, I agree with Gil. Go talk to supply houses. You could be a field service rep or maybe be a territory manager for one of your distributors. But there's something that you could do in the trade if you love it and you want to stay in it.
Yep, I agree. But hey, guys, we are getting on a little long here. We're already over the hour mark. So we've already said all the pertinent details that we say at the end. Thank you, guys. Don't forget to download the podcast and check us out in iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play Store. Subscribe to the podcast. That way it'll automatically download it for you. It'll notify you when it's up and ready. Podcast will be out probably 7 a.m. Eastern time every Friday, unless I just don't fucking feel like it. It's late, but no, just kidding. I will do whatever I have to do if I have to stay up till God knows when to make sure they're out Friday morning. But make sure you're downloading it. Check us out on Facebook, the Facebook group. Answer the questions. Please answer the questions, guys. We will not let you in if you don't answer the questions. So just know that. Check us out on Instagram and go subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys, because me and Kelly are getting ready to do some big things on the YouTube channel, putting a lot more content out there. I'm going to start a vlog on there, just different things to be able to get some content on the channel. So, alrighty, Kelly.
All right, guys, that's it for episode 3 of the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Thanks for listening. Be sure to share this with your friends and go make money.
All right, guys, be safe, be good, and as always, do what the next guy won't. Till next week, we're out. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.
Penis! Balls! Just kidding. Oh, God. We'll stop.
Do you want to earn more money in your business or your career as a service professional? Are you struggling to find new clients and get recognition in your market? You see, it's not enough to just provide good service. In order to earn more money, get new clients, become recognized, and advance your business and career, you have to deliver the unexpected. You have to set yourself and your company apart from the competition. For the last 10 years, I've owned a successful heating and air conditioning company. My name is Kelly McKay, and I've been in the service industry for a total of 22 years. And I've built a video training program that will teach you and your team how to serve your clients at an extremely high level. I've named the course Super Service. When you implement the content that you're going to learn in this course into your career as a service professional, here's the results you can expect. Raving fan clients. These are clients that are so blown away from your service. These are clients that are so blown away from the service you provide that they never stop recommending you and your company. Are you struggling to get reviews? I'm going to show you and your team how I increased my Google reviews from 36 to over 100 in less than 6 months. If you're struggling to get your average invoice up, this course will show you exactly how to do it without being pushy or selling something that the client doesn't want. Are you not sure what to say when your client says they want to think about it, or when they say I want to get 3 bids? I'll teach you what to say when the client is having a hard time making that decision. Now, whether you're an employee who wants to stand above the crowd, earning more recognition and bonuses, or you own a home service business and want to build a team of superstars, either way, when you implement Super Service, you'll increase customer loyalty and get noticed in your market by delivering the unexpected. My entire company has been built by providing an exceptional level of service, and I want to show you how to do the same. Visit www.hvacserviceready.com to get your lifetime access to Super Service today.